Hello guys, it's time for another vlog video. I have a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start off with the biggest thing, I guess, this week, which was the fact I went to theaters on Saturday and I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I have seen every Marvel movie that's come out to theaters, and I loved, all of them in their own way. There's some flaws with a couple, but overall, the Marvel-made movies I really enjoyed. We're not going to talk about the Fox-made X-Men or Fantastic Four. That'd be a totally another thing that would take a lot longer to talk about, especially Fantastic Four. Comic book I love, and unfortunately the movies just don't do that comic book justice. But I will honestly say Guardians of the Galaxy was the best Marvel movie they made so far. And it was interesting, when I first heard them announce they were making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I was surprised because I've read the Guardians of the Galaxy comic books. I read the original run of Guardians of the Galaxy, which came out in its own series in the 90s. Now, they were in comic books before that, but their run in the 90s is what I remember. And I had some of the issues with the shit up before that, but the 90s run. And what the great thing that Marvel does best when you talk about Marvel is they find a way to reinvent like 60s and 70s characters for today. Like Star-Lord now, if you go look, his character's been around a long time. It's not just recently, but some of those characters he's made and Marvel didn't know what to do with it, and then they find a way to, Anyway, the original 90s comic book, for example, didn't have the team that you see in the movie. It's a totally different team. It's based on a guy who was around in the 80s who's encased in this hard material so that because if he's exposed to his skin, he'll basically burn up because he's, they're in the 23rd century, so he's really old, and he has Captain America's shield, and we could get into that whole story. But in the early 2000s, they rebrought back Guardians of the Galaxy with this team, which has been the one through that series in the early 2000s, and then, of course, last year they started out with the next run of this current team, which I've read actually all the issues of this current team, and I actually thoroughly enjoy it. And it's been a B-rated comic book in the Marvel Universe, right? It's not a massive seller. It's not like the big thing where all the big events happen in, but it surprised me that they chose that. Granted, if it was big, then it would help that team out. And I must say, they did a great job with this movie, with these characters. The banter seems natural. There's a ton of 80s references if you love the 80s. That'll make you chuckle the way they put them in there. There's a lot of Easter eggs if you've read the comic books, especially the 80s and 90s, in this movie. And a lot of people who maybe you've read in the 90s, like the Infinity Gauntlet miniseries, some of these characters on this team, of course, were in that, and you would know these characters from that. So if you had read a comic book in the 90s, you more than likely at least knew one of the characters that was in this movie. And it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much we went to see my friends early that evening. We get together, usually it's once a month, but lately it's been less than that due to, summer and family stuff. And probably 3/4 of the movies we go see are superhero movies, right? And that's led to conflict because my wife wants to go see. My wife, I'm lucky to have a wife, unlike a lot of the ones I know that likes anime, that knows all the stuff that I basically grew up with in the 80s, that likes superhero movies. And so she has dibs, especially on the Marvel ones. She puts dibs on those. So at times that leads to a weird strain. They want to go see it. She wants to go see it, kind of thing. So those have to okay, I can go see this with her. I'm going to go see these with them, kind of thing. And she wanted to go see this movie, but then she made I made some silly comment being a dumb guy, not want to go with her when I was kidding, and she said, fine, I'll go with my friend, and be a dumb guy, being a dumb guy, went, oh, that's cool, that means I can go with my friends, and I told him I could, and, being stupid, getting myself in trouble. But when I came home from seeing this movie, I said, you know what, you're going to go see it tonight, because I just enjoyed it so much, and I wanted to go see it again. So we went out to eat Chinese, and then we saw the late showing of the movie, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. And so that is definitely a movie I have to get when it comes out on Blu-ray. Awesome movie, absolutely loved it a lot. So saw that, and of course yesterday I saw the passing of Rob Williams, and not getting into death because to me that's thinking about the death. A lot of times people get caught up in the end of someone's life, not looking at their body of work that entertained you. The first time I ever saw Robin Williams was in The World According to Garth. And a lot of people may have never seen that movie. It came out in the early 80s. It was a raunchy comedy following the life of Garth to a certain point. And it was a rather interesting movie, and I remembered that movie. I remembered him from that movie, and then later, of course, he would do so many movies. Like next thing I think I remember, Mork and Mindy. I saw him in Mork and Mindy, and absolutely loved him in that series. That was like one of my favorite series during that time period. I had the Mork and Mindy Lunchbox. I was so into that show at that time. Nano Nano, all that stuff. They did crossovers with Happy Days back then. Another show I was in at that period of time. Into big time at that period of time in TV. And I might be getting my order wrong. I might have seen him in Mork and Mindy and then seen World According to Garth. But that was the first. World According to Garth was the first movie I saw him in. Of course, Mork and Mindy was from TV. And he was so great. And I said this on Facebook about him. He was like that old friend that could always make you laugh. That whenever he was in a comedy movie, he'd always make me laugh. And that he had done other stuff besides comedy. I mean, obviously a lot of people point to Good Will Hunting, which is an awesome movie that I entirely love. But he's done so many great comedies and done so many things to entertain me, and left a great body of work for years to come. I'm definitely, going to watch his movies, and it's a shame he died. Again, it's weird being at the age I'm in now, in the early 40s, and seeing like things that mattered when I was growing up, people passing away or things going away. It's a weird thing that I used to see in my parents when I was growing up, and now, of course, I'm going through it now, But it shocked me when he died, unfortunately, and my heart goes out to his family. It's hard when someone passes away, and especially when it's all of a sudden. But let's get into games now. Me and my son have been playing Minecraft, actually. We've been playing the new Snapshot, which is going to lead to 1.8. They've had a lot of stuff there. Had a lot of fun doing that. Playing on my friend's Arcade Main Machines server for Minecraft. Basically been just me and him on it building, just getting started, using all the new stuff, which has been a lot of fun on that. On the game recording side, I'm working on my video game life, right? A series I did a couple of on my old channel, but didn't do much. Which I'm going to upload those after the YouTube Game Community tomorrow. I'm going to upload however many of those I have. It may be on Sunday I'll have the new My Arcade Life. I'm not guarantee it. It could be the week after. I'll let you know on social media and stuff. I'll put it up there if I'm not going to do it. But I had a kind of kink of recording, because normally I can record like the old games with a regular. Actually, this camera, which I've recorded gameplay footage before, and I normally have no problem. But when it comes to, like, let's say RC Pro-Am or racing game, it seems to be way too fast on the camera and blurry on all the cameras I try. So I found a solution to it, but that caused me, like, last couple of days I wanted to record it, so that's caused me, like, put it behind a little bit. And it's not just that I want to be like, oh, look at this gameplay footage kind of thing. I got to have my memories in it. There's no point in talking about a game if you don't have your memories of what it meant to you. And the video game magazine side, I want to talk about that too. So I'm still getting that all together. And then a cool thing was my wife surprised me this week with 2 games. I'm just going to show this one. Though I've shown them both on Facebook, I'm going to save it for the pickup video. But an N64 game, Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. What's funny about this is now I have to update my N64 list, because there's only, 275 N64 games that came out in North America. And I actually have a list of every game I don't have, with the number order all the way up to the point of the last one I don't have. And so now I got to take this one off the list. I only have 55 N64 games, I believe. So it's cool to have this game, and a nice surprise along with actually Super Mario Kart that she got me also. So that's really cool. And I'm actually going to go to the place she got this, a Trading Post. I'm going to take some of my doubles in there tomorrow, and or maybe the day after, and because she went in there asking. Because I actually, if you don't know, I actually have 14 copies of Mario / Duck Hunt on the NES. When Mom closed her pawn shop, this haul I had years ago. There were a bunch of them in there, and I'm going to take some in there to try to get rid of them, because he said he'd take a couple, and I've slowly got rid of them here or there, just to slowly whittle it down to get rid of it, but because I already have a copy of all three of that. Like, I already have a copy of Mario Brothers, I have a copy of Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, and then the last one is what, Mario Kart, Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, and the last game, I have a copy of that already too, but, so hopefully get more games to a pickup video, but I've been playing my old games, having a lot of fun, along with Minecraft, and that's basically been what I've been up to, guys. So, like always, thanks for watching, and there'll be another vlog next week. Bye for now.